Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. And I see I have some people already online here. And it's so good to see you, Kelly, and Awakening with Susan. Susan says, hello, light weavers. And Kelly says, Putin is not going to be deterred from where he intended to do from what he intended to do. These are newer glasses and they're not have to hold my head in a very strange way. So excuse me. So Kelly says, Putin is not going to be deterred from what he intended to do regardless. Will ETs get involved in what's going on? That's a question. We'll look at that. That's not what we're going to answer today. And by ETs, I'm assuming, Kelly, you mean extraterrestrials. So we will look at that. Perhaps next week. We do have some other questions in the line, but today's question is about nuclear war and is it inevitable? And we're going to answer that. We're going to see what Phillip has to say about that. We'll also get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers. And as you know, you just open to any page and that's a message for us. So we're going to get that after I read to you what Phillip told me about nuclear war. Hello, Carly. She says, hi. Hello, Diana. Sending love. Thank you. We accept that love and we send it back out to the world because right now the world really needs it. I just want to say when we hear Phillip's message, this is very similar to the March predictions in some ways. It's a little bit different because of the situation we're in with war, that these questions I know are being asked. And I want to also say, please, please listen to what Phillip has to say at the end, not just at the beginning or middle, because he always leaves us with two things. One, hope, and two, what action we personally need to take within our lives. So make sure you listen to that. So it's so good to see all of you. Thank you for being here today. And I'm sure some others will be joining us. If you don't get my newsletter currently, please sign up for it. You can do that. Just go to my website. The information is below. The newsletter is free. You can also read my blog, which a lot of times I will connect the two. And I do have a meditation out there on manifesting personal and planetary healing. Excuse me. Just had lunch. Anyway, the link to that particular video is below. My newsletter has, I'm trying to alternate, so every week it isn't about what's going on in the world. And this week, I think it's about a money tree, how to have grace and abundance, or the grace of abundance, or something like that. I forget the title, sorry. And it is connected to one of the blogs on my webpage, giving you some ways of creating that abundance. Okay, let's get going here. Here's our question for this week. If you have questions, you can do what Kelly just did. You can post them right there. You can post them in the comments below. You can email me. Just let me know what your questions are. We probably won't have an answer to your question while we're live today, Kelly, but who knows, we might. But let's see what Phillip says when we ask the question. Please speak about nuclear war and is it inevitable? You know, you send me these questions and I think I got the answer to that one, but I ask Phillip and it's always so much bigger and so much more than I, Diana, could even see. So here we go. Let us begin by reminding all that the planet you call Earth existed long before humankind and will continue to exist long after humans cease to exist on her. We also remind you that humans inhabited this planet before your history. They destroyed human life, but only changed the landscape of the planet. Earth remained. Additionally, we remind you that you are spirit taking form. In this life experience, you chose human form. You have done this before and will do it again, as well as life experiences in Earth's dimension in other forms. Regardless of the form you choose, you chose to experience in this dimension. And regardless of how long you spend in this dimension, you continue. You are spirit. Not so many years ago in Earth's time, but many in human time, the feminine energy began to rise. This rise was predicted by the ancient ones. We call them the ancient ones, for that is what they are in this world's time. But within Earth's time, they are those to whom the ones who came before imparted wisdom. So that's a little, Phillip's syntax is a little bit more difficult for me. It's different than I would write. But what he's saying there is the ancient ones, the ones we call the ancient ones, were fed wisdoms by those who came long before our history. So the feminine energy is that of receiving rather than taking. So this information that Phillip is giving us goes back before the history that we're aware of. The feminine energy is that of receiving rather than of taking, of giving generously, of compassion and kindness rather than butting against and meanness. When we say the feminine energy, we are speaking of the energy one has regardless of one's gender. However, many of you chose to come in as a woman, thinking in many cultures, expressing the feminine energy was best served in the woman's body. This is true in multiple cases, but not all. All must seek balance of both the feminine energies and the masculine energies. When the balance is not, the individual then demonstrates that lack of balance in their life, which then permeates into the world. That was interesting, that word permeates into the world. So our balance is important, isn't it? This lack of balance is currently displayed in your world. When the masculine energy feels threatened, it strikes out, for it is the energy of outward motion. The feminine energy, when threatened, withdraws, for it is the inward energy. This is not to say when a man is threatened, he strikes out, or when a woman is threatened, she withdraws. Please recall that you chose your gender for the purpose of creating balance, and that both genders must seek balance. The female body can express too strongly the masculine energy, just as the male body can express too much of the feminine energy. A balance of the energies is needed regardless of the body's gender. With this understanding, let us proceed to answering the initial question: is nuclear war inevitable? The answer is yes, but the question is no, or when. The answer is yes, but the question is when. The answer is also no. The answer is also other, more destructive weapons are being created in the distant future. The answer is also they are not. Well, that's confusing, Phillip, but he goes on to explain. We do not mean to confuse you. We do not mean to confuse you, but to merely say more than one future exists, so the possibilities are endless. That said, let us look at the projection of the current energy in this world as you are experiencing it today. To this we say there will be at least one, and this is the scary part, sorry. There will be at least one, but remember, listen to the end, because we can change this. To this, okay, that said, let us look at the projections of the current energy in this world as you are experiencing it today. To this we say there will be at least one, and most likely multiple, simultaneous nuclear strikes within the heat of the summer. While the world watches the movements of one man whose masculine energy is out of balance, another who is not being talked about openly will strike. As many have said, history repeats itself unless you learn that which history teaches. Just as the feminine energy will seek to balance, so will the masculine. When the masculine energy feels threatened, it fights outwardly. This has come to the world's attention recently. The world has seen the escalation of the out of balance fighting back, The world has seen the escalation of the out of balance fighting back from fear of losing its masculine power it believes it holds. Although this is not man against woman, it will often express in that form as you see it expressing now. The man named Putin bombs maternity hospitals not to destroy the unborn, but to kill and harm the mothers. This is the out of balance masculine energy striking out because the mind of the man in the body professes to be a man but does not feel it. This will bring the world to nuclear war, but it is from the other we spoke of that the attention must be paid. This is in the country you call North Korea. As we have spoken, we ask you to acknowledge your fear, then let down your shoulders and feel the love we now send you. You chose to be in human form at this point in the world's evolution and development. Ask yourself why. Was it to create war, to be harmed by war, or was it to create peace? If you are a creator of peace, then that is what you must hold with every thought. Perhaps then you will help to create peace as the inevitable future. I'm going to read those last few paragraphs again, as I usually do. And I don't know if you found yourself doing that, but you probably saw me letting my shoulders down when Phillip reminded us to do that, because we do this when we get frightened. As we have spoken, we ask you to acknowledge your fear, then let down your shoulders and feel the love we now send you. You chose to be in the human form at this point in the world's evolution and development. Ask yourself why. Was it to create war, to be harmed by war, or was it to create peace? If you are a creator of peace, then that is what you must hold with every thought. Perhaps then you will help to create peace as the inevitable future. All right, my friends, we're going to get our message from Phillip. I want to also say hello, Juliet. She says, hello, everyone. So good to see you live, Juliet. And I want to say on my blog that I just posted yesterday, I believe, and the link to that I will put on Facebook and I will put on Twitter, and the link is also in the newsletter that goes out next Friday. And next Friday is about 12 ways of creating peace in your life, our newsletter. So do sign up for it. And you might want to go ahead and read the blog. It's about our responsibility. As Phillip tells us, what is our responsibility in creating peace? And it explains that a little bit more in depth. All right. I want to jump back for a minute because Phillip talked about multiple worlds and multiple choices that we have. In my book, The Found Child, I won't take time to read it, but there's a scene in there where in Spirit World, we're watching this woman look at different monitors, and each monitor is giving her an option of what life to choose. And when I was writing part of this, that part that Phillip was talking about, I was actually seeing movie screens of which reality are we going to create. We are creating our own reality, so let's create it in peace, making peace inevitable. How do we do that within ourselves? Go read the article. I forget the title, sorry, but it's on my blog. You'll figure it out. All right. I'm going to just open to any page, and we're going to see where that takes us. So that's their page. I'm hearing right. If you heard right, then that's the message. Our intuition's in sync. If you heard left, then that's a message you need to pay special attention to, because that's a message for you. So on the right, it surprises me and shouldn't surprise me, because every time our message, and you saw I just flipped through and opened to any page, it always surprises me still, though, how much that message has to do with the message Philip gave us to answer your questions. Find peace and war will be meaningless. This is the message for all of us. Find peace and war will be meaningless. Find peace and war will be meaningless. If you heard left, this is a message for you. The bud of the flower will not grow where only weeds are planted. The bud of the flower will not grow where only weeds are planted. But remember, my friends, for this week, find peace and war will be meaningless. Hello, Vom.red. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is or what you mean, and we're going to assume you're coming in love, because that's what we appreciate coming to this particular channel. We are not interested in those who are marketing others' thoughts, shall we say. And sometimes this looks like it could be a porn site. Hate to say that. And please tell me it's not. Please tell me you're coming in love and you have some news, perhaps good news, about our friends in Ukraine or our friends of the people in Russia, because the people don't want this anymore. Of Russia, the Russian people don't want this any more than the Russian or than the Ukrainians want this. That's my belief. So we're going to pray for all of them in whatever form of prayer we take. And Carly says, when we are struggling to find peace within ourselves, what are some of the methods we can use to tap into that energy? That's in the newsletter. And also, go ahead and read that article read the article on my blog. Will be helpful for that too, Carly. And certainly I'll put that out as a question to Phillip as well. And Awakening with Susan says, so grateful for your message. Thank you, Susan. We really, I'm 76 and I don't have all that much time left on this planet. I don't want to leave a planet behind for people that my nieces and their children and their children's children and young people like Carly. I don't know the age of the rest of you, but I know Carly's a beautiful young singer, and I want to see her succeed in her life without war hanging over her, or the threat of war. So thank you, Carly. She says, I will read that. Thank you. So let me leave you with this thought. And it's what Phillip said. As we have spoken, we have asked you to acknowledge your fear, then let down your shoulders and feel the love we now send you. Every time we have fear instead of love, we're creating war. This is not to say that we don't speak up for ourselves or speak back. Love is an active verb, and it means that we do speak up for ourselves. We do speak out, but we do so not in the anger or not in the fear. We look at that which angers us. We look at that which we're afraid of, and we transform it to a form of love. Philip, in our monthly March meeting, Philip said it was really cool because he said, this is going to be a tough month. Energies are tough. They're heightened, but it's also a time for major transformations. And I have to tell you something I have spent my life working on. I really got, and this is part of what is in that blog. What I got was, I come from a background of not knowing my father. So I met him when I was 19. I remembered him when I was like maybe 2, but he left the family when my brother was. We really didn't know him till we were much later. So if somebody hurt my feelings, I just would dismiss them and push them. We could work it through easily. I went through a few marriages doing that. Get out of here. You've hurt me. Go away. It took me years to realize I was pushing people away. I was dismissing people because of my wound. And many of you have heard me say, wounded people wound others. Wounded people wound others. I had to heal my wounds to stop dismissing people. This week, I had some things going on in my life that brought that all up, and I felt hurt, and I didn't want to be there. So I had to work through that, and I had this huge understanding at a much deeper level, that which I understood intellectually for years, but this was just that great moment of it clicked. I had to heal me of this wound and stop dismissing people that anger me or hurt me. Don't dismiss them. And if I don't dismiss them, then they are going to get my compassion. They're going to get my peace. They're going to get my love. And if you take that to the largest scale of what's happening in the world today, it's kind of what Phillip just told us, or not kind of, it is what Phillip just told us. We are being touched. We are being hurt by the wounds and insecurities of those who are frightened of the feminine rising. So, for all my women out here, all my sisters, and for all my brothers, let's continue to rise that feminine energy, bringing it up to where that love just goes out more and more and more into the world. And I want to say, fosters versus imposters. Good day, everyone. Peace and love to all. XXX, thank you. And Juliet says, your story goes to show that the best teachers continue to do their own work. Sounds like you have done a great deal of good work. Congratulations. Oh my, thank you. That touches my heart so deeply. Thank you. I've never said I was perfect. Oh my gosh, I am so far from perfect. But the one thing I learn is the more I learn, the more I have to learn. And I want to pass along to all of you that which I've learned, because I really believe as we learn and as we teach and pass along, then what happens is those behind us may not have to repeat what we've had to go through. Think about that. I do, because I was of that generation that women were only allowed to be teachers or nurses, and any woman who broke out of that, wow. So my friends, look what women can do today. If women have come this far today, look what those of us using that feminine energy, regardless of our sex, our gender, we can create world peace. And Carly says, praying for peace worldwide. Absolutely. Let's go out and create peace in our hearts, in our lives, not ignoring the fear. Just as Phillip says, acknowledge it, then let your shoulders relax and let the love come that we now send you. So exciting to see all of you. I love each of you. Thank you so much. Create peace within, and let's spread it throughout the world and make peace inevitable, not that other stuff. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it together. We hold each other. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you.